welcome back to my channel. I am here to do a secret reading vlog for the Red Rising trilogy by Pierce Brown. Now, this is secret because this trilogy was my husband's favorite set of books last year. He read this and he read the first three, like the first trilogy in the Mistborn series, which he really liked as well. But he put this as his favorite. So we were at the bookstore. He wanted to get a little bit more into reading, and they had a sale of buy three, get the fourth one free. And he asked me to pick him a book. And we were in like the sci-fi section, and I saw this on the shelves and I had never read it. And I was like, hey, this book, I hear Eric from Break Even Books talks about this a lot, and it's one of his favorite books, and everyone who talks about it seems to really enjoy it. So he's like, sure. And he was reading through it and he's like, this is so good. I need the next books in the series. So I went out and bought him the next two. His birthday is March 19th. I wanted to read all three of these in January, but it is already January 22nd, and that's just not going to happen. I'm only not even 100 pages. I'm 72 pages into this first book, and it's taking me a while to read it because it's a secret reading vlog, so I can't read it with my husband around. And I was putting it back on the bookshelf so he wouldn't notice that it's missing, but he hasn't noticed, and I've had it off the bookshelf for like 4 or 5 days now, so we'll see. But as long as I put it back periodically, he might not notice. I thought you lent out Red Rising.
To Roger?
Yes. To Roger. So it's taken me a while for that reason, because it's secret. I cannot get the audiobook for it right now. It is like a ridiculous wait. It's like 3 months from now, 4 months from now before I get the audiobook, but I do have a hold on it, so we'll see. Maybe I should put the second one on hold now. And I could probably get it as like an ebook and read it, which I might do that just to make reading a little bit easier, but I want to be able to tab and stuff as well. So all my tabs are like into the book. Where is it? Are tucked in so that if he does pick it up off the shelf, he won't notice them all sticking out the sides. So that's fun. So this is my secret little project. So happy birthday, husband. I am thinking I'll read one every month, hopefully like January, February, March, and then have this vlog come up for his birthday on March 19th. So happy birthday if you're watching this today. If not, happy belated birthday. Anyways, this book has been hard for me to read because you're just dropped into this like sci-fi futuristic world knowing nothing. Absolutely nothing. And like I said, I'm only 72 pages in, and a lot has already happened, like, reveal-wise. There's been a couple of, like, shocking moments. My husband said the second book, it's, like, action, 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 action. So hopefully the pacing is good, and it does have a lot of action and keeps my interest. But this first 70 pages has been really, I don't want to say a drag to read, like, it's bad. It's just been hard. Jesper! Hey! It's just been hard for me to read and comprehend, and I'm trying to read easier books. My brain has just been having a really hard time understanding anything at all. So I wanted more basic books to read. And this one, some of the annoying things about it is he doesn't just say like, they smoked a cigarette. He has to have like this takes place like hundreds of years in the future. And he has to have a new word for everything. Like I said, they can't just say he took a drag of his cigarette. Or even his seg, or his vape. No. Oh, I underlined this one thing in here. Here, it says, he's thick and terribly old. Maybe in his 40s. And I was like, I just turned 36. I can't remember what they call cigarettes, but it's not just cigarettes. That'd be too easy. My husband was talking about this in this book, about how they have weapons in here, and he'll be like, the sling blade, or the torture, or... torture spelled like torch, and there's no description of them whatsoever. You have no idea like how these things are used or what they look like, kind of thing. As you read, you kind of learn when they use the weapon what the weapon does, kind of thing. People talk about with fantasy where you're put into a new world and you don't know anything and you're just dropped in there. People don't like info dumpy scenes where you're just getting all the information all at once, kind of thing. I need information. I need an info dump. Because this is driving me crazy that I don't know anything. And like I said, they don't just have, like, he smoked a cigarette. It's like, he took a drag of his... My brain is so broken. I can't even think of the words that you would use for cigarette besides cigarette. Or vape. Or... I don't know. But this, most people know Red Rising. They have, like, their factions, their districts kind of thing. They have colors instead. So golds are at the top, reds are at the bottom, and then there's all these colors in between. Our main character, Darrow, he is a red. He's the lowest of the low. They just went actually through, the obsidians are only the elite. The gray soldiers prowl the cities. The whites arbitrate their justice. Pinks pleasure and serve the high color homes. Silver count and manipulate currency. So like I got a little description here about what these do, but I'm confused. They live on Mars. So they're not out in the open on the surface, but like I didn't understand the fact that they live underground. They're like in Mars. They're not on top of the surface. And I get that he's like a miner, so I'm like, okay, he's going down into the tunnels and mining whatever it is that they need, this helium-3 stuff. And they're mining that stuff, but when they come out of the mines, then they're on the surface. No. Things like that, like you learn it as he's going through it. As Darrow is going through his day and he's coming out of the mines and they're going to this like party after work kind of thing. And you realize, okay, they're not on the surface. So like that's okay to learn it organically like that. That's fine. But just all the new words and everything, like he talks about things being broadcast on the screen, the HC. And I'm like, what is this? What does this look like? What does this mean? My son and dog are being crazy because I'm trying to film. Don't you tear up that pillow, Peaches. I've been waiting days to film this update. Now all the crazy noise, and I can't find any of the words that I've been trying to find to explain to you what is driving my brain crazy. So they have clans, and he's part of like the Lycos clan, and there's the Gammas, and there's this, and there's that. And that part of it is what's confusing, not like the layers of like golds being the highest and the reds being the lowest, and you're learning that stuff as you go. That's fine. It's all the, well, this person is a this, and this person is a that. Like, it's not just I'm a red. He's like, I'm Darrow, a red from Lycos. This person's a whatever color from Gamma, and Gammas are better than Lycos, and we don't like the Gammas because they always get the laurel, and the laurel gives you more money, more provisions, but you have to work to get the laurel. But the Gammas always get the laurel because they always like produce the most of whatever they're trying to mine and all this stuff. And I'm just like, what? Okay, so now we have a laurel. That's fine. But every like page is just full of words I don't understand. So I'm just feeling a little bogged down and dragged down in this. Right now it's not the best time to talk about this. Apparently the baby's banging and making that noise in the oven, of all things. Just constant chaos in my house, and it's hard for me to comprehend anything. So reading this book, I just need like a soft slice of life contemporary book to read, I think, because I am not understanding the world that Pierce Brown has created in Red Rising. But I really, really want to read this. Everyone at this time of year is reading like booktubers' favorite books and doing like these big epic videos about reading the favorite books from booktubers that they follow and love. But I just wanted to read my husband's favorite books of 2023. That's what I wanted to do. And I still really want to do that, but I'm just really struggling mentally being able to comprehend anything right now and reading multiple books at the same time. And I just have so many books, like non-fiction books that I want to get to, that it's been just really difficult to be able to cram in all the books. And like I said, I'm a really slow reader, and I do not have access to audiobooks without paying for them for the Red Rising. So anyways, this is my very messed up, rambly, incomprehensible update, and I will update later when I have more cohesive, coherent thoughts. So I am 48% of the way through Red Rising, and I have the audiobook for it, so I've been listening to it as well as reading along. So it is helping me get through it a little bit faster. If I'm honest, and I wasn't reading this for reading my husband's favorite book or series from last year, I probably would have DNF'd this, just because I know my taste in books, and this is sci-fi, but it's also very like political and wars. Darrow, our main character, is like in this class, and he's fighting to get up the ranks and stuff like that, right? It's hard for me to keep track of everything that's going on, and the people and the different like factions, the different houses, the different levels, and all of the stuff that you have to keep track of. That's hard for me to keep in mind. My husband said the second book was his favorite and it was just like action upon action. Am I going to keep going on in the series? I want to, because I want to read the whole series as part of this surprise video, but we will see. It's not that it's bad, it's just hard for me to keep up with it and understand it fully, but I'm trying to focus on this more because I've been reading books for my mystery books vlog as well. So I am hoping to just focus on this a little bit more with the headphones on and listening to it as an audiobook and stuff. The reason why this one keeps getting put off to the side is because I can't read it when my husband is around or he'll know I'm reading it. So when he's on his days off, I read other books and stuff and then just read this like at night when he's asleep or during the day when he's at work. That's how this is going right now. I will just keep trugging along and let you know what I think, what I feel. The Darrow is a red and he's been brought up into the ranks of gold, kind of ish. I don't want to give spoilers, so I don't know what's spoiler and what's not, but he's doing this testing right now, I guess, to see who's the best and who's a leader and all that good stuff. Yeah, I will update later. So I am just in the parking lot waiting for my kids to be done with their youth class, and now they're running up to my car because I've decided to press play on this and start recording something. And my dog is sitting there whining at them because she can see them playing outside because it's actually nice out for the first time all year, actually. Anyways, I've been listening to this for a few hours on and off during Gavin and Gabby's reading sprints, and now as I've been driving around and sitting here, the kids still have like half an hour of youth left, but I don't like driving in the dark. Yeah, so there's like 12 houses, I think, and Darrow gets put into the house of Mars, and there's like 1,000 students or something like that, and then there's 100 in each group, and then it goes down to 50, and then they're put like basically in this big battlefield kind of thing with 12 castles or 10 or whatever. I think it's 12, and it's basically like who's gonna survive. Like they're going to war basically, and I'm so lost and so confused by all of this. I don't know my brain can't handle this kind of stuff. I feel like I need just contemporary books right now, not sci-fi, not fantasy, nothing like that. Just straight up contemporary, because that's all my brain can handle right now. But this Mars house that Darrow is a part of is absolutely like Lord of the Flies right now. They split up into 2 different groups. They're going crazy. One guy's off on his own, just running around like a wolf, and it's just crazy. And I'm like, I didn't think I was reading Lord of the Flies, but okay. And then there's like the other 11 houses all running around, and they're doing scouting missions, and they have to hunt their own food and everything. And they've come into contact with another house, Minerva, I think, and another girl, Mustang, who's kind of like the leader of that house. And I think they've come into contact with another house, and that's where I'm getting confused. I'm like, who's here? Who are all these people? What is happening? I don't get it. I am so completely and utterly lost, and that's how I always feel reading these books. I do enjoy sci-fi books like The Martian and Project Hail Mary. I've enjoyed those, and I can't think of any other sci-fi right now, but I don't know, this one's just difficult for me to understand, I guess, right now, just where I'm at in life mentally. But I'm glad I was able to pick up the audiobook for this and didn't have to wait like months and months, because that is helping with like the language and the different words that are used in this. Like I said, Pierce Brown came up with his own whole entire language, so that's been interesting. That's it. That's all I have to say. Just that I'm confused, and it's totally Lord of the Flies right now. And there's Peaches. I will update again later when I've read a little bit more. I was at 48% of the book, and then I pressed play on the next chapter and it was like 49%. And now I'm at 55%. So I've got a lot done today so far. Hopefully finish it this week. That'll be my goal. I have a lot of crafting things I am working on. Too many crafting things that I want to start, that I want to finish, all this stuff. So that's a good time to listen to an audiobook. Peaches! So I am forever working on this snake for my daughter. I am listening to Red Rising while I do this. And I chose books from my love language bookmark for this book because I tried to match my bookmarks to like the vibe or the cover, and this cover is black and red, and this is very like pink and purple, but I am reading these books as a surprise gift thing for my husband, and so I decided love language was a good one for that. Anyways, that doesn't matter. I am re-listening to like 8% of this book, chapters, I think I started on chapter 22, and I just got to chapter 27, but last night I read till chapter 29, So I already have read this part, but I'm re-listening to it all because I was a little bit, like I mentioned before, confused by what was happening in the story with the war. I was talking about how it's very Lord of the Flies, and Darrow has kind of split from this other guy named Titus, and there's like 3 kind of groups of people all within the same house of Mars against there's 12 different houses or castles or whatever, 12 different houses that are all fighting to become the one on top, right? I think there's supposed to be 50 people per house, maybe. So out of the 50 for the Mars house that Darrow is in, there's like 3 little groups. Of course, there's like literally the lone wolf, who basically is a wolf. I was just a little bit confused by the fighting that was happening within the House of Mars, and then another 2 houses that have come into contact because they're all fighting again to be number 1. The goal isn't to kill the people, the students of the other houses. The goal is to enslave them, basically. And you can fight them and beat them up and stuff. And there are medevac things that like come down and take care of you. If you're really, really, really beat up, they take you away, or if you have died, they'll take you away, or they'll just patch you up and leave you there kind of thing. It feels a little Hunger Games, but not quite, because the goal isn't to kill them, but to enslave the other houses. The one part I was listening to, they were talking about this one guy in the House of Mars that had raped some of the slave women that they had taken over, and I was like, okay, I don't remember that, but as I'm re-listening to it, they don't specifically say that guy is raping those women. They just heavily imply it, but that went over my head in reading and listening to this. So as I was re-listening, I was like, oh, that's the part that they're talking about. And then there's a part coming up here where they say, like, these people raped our women and this guy raped their women kind of thing. So it's not implied, it's just told to you. But I missed the implied part of it happening. And again, just like who's fighting who, and especially when there's fighting within the people within the Mars house and also fighting with them and the other houses. So I was a little bit confused, but I think I got it now, re-listening to it. And when I finished reading yesterday, this one part, there was a little bit of a twist about one of the characters in the story. So I'm excited to get past this part. I think I have less than an hour worth of reading. Well, it's not even that long. I only have like 9 pages I have to re-listen to, so definitely less than an hour. No, 12 pages. Anyways, just this little bit to get to where I was last night, where there is a bit of a twist. So I am excited to keep going on. And today is January 31st, so maybe I'll be able to finish this today. We'll see. I'll basically have to focus on just reading this all day. I really need to get off of YouTube and BookTube. Yeah, today I think I'm just going to focus on listening to / reading this book, and hopefully having more positive things to say, because, hello, Sebastien, this is your birthday gift, and I'm really trying to love your favorite book. Not that I'm not enjoying it, it's just been difficult for me to fully understand all that is happening. But it's okay, it's good, and I'm hoping to be able to continue on in the series. So I'm gonna go keep listening to this, keep working on my crochet, and I will update later. This is what happens when you get your hair wet in the bath at nighttime and then go to bed and sleep on it, and it's super curly, but a little bit wild.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if I can get away with this for the day or not, or if it just looks like I got bad bedhead. I like the volume I get out of it. Anyways, I finished Red Rising last night. I finished it, I went to the bathroom, and I came back out and checked the time, and it was like right at midnight. So I actually finished it last night. So that was exciting. I think, Sebastien, I think you know that I'm secretly reading these books, because I mentioned a part in the book that I was like, I knew it, and it was a good thing. It was a good thing. I was happy that it happened that way. And Seb asked me what book I was reading, and I was like, a book? Because I couldn't think of any. I have 250 books on my shelves.
Yep.
That I haven't read. You would think I could come up with the name of one book that I am reading that is not Red Rising. But no, because my brain, as we saw in earlier clips, just doesn't work. I think because I was trying to think of a book that had to deal with like war and battles and politics and stuff like that. I've been rereading the Outlander series over the last couple of years, but I've already read it, so like I can't say like, aha, I knew that was gonna happen. So I was gonna mention that like with Outlander, because I don't like books that are heavy with politics and war. I don't mind battle scenes. I am all up for a good action time. I like action movies. They keep me easily entertained. Not every book or every movie or whatever has to have this deep, meaningful plot and message and stuff like that. Sometimes you just want a good time and it's fun. And there were some really good action scenes in Red Rising, for sure. But all the political stuff and like the rulers of these houses and stuff like that can get a little muddled in my brain. And I've mentioned this before with political books. I can barely keep track of the politics in my own country, never mind the world. And in these made up worlds, I'm like, I don't have the brain space for this. So you're probably like, well, you read Outlander, isn't that like over 50% politics? Yes, it is. And I don't understand any of it either. So would I keep reading this series if I was not doing this challenge? I keep calling it a challenge. It's not really a challenge. I'm just reading books. But this secret reading vlog video, would I keep up with the rest of this trilogy on my own? No. And I feel bad because, Sebastien, this was like your favorite series ever last year. It's just a lot for me to take in right now. And not that it's not good. It's just hard for me to keep track of everything. So now I am going to move on to Golden Sun, which has not come back yet. My husband lent it out to somebody. They lent out Red Rising and it came back like right away. And now Golden Sun he lent out and it's not back yet. So I've got the ebook for it, which will be good because I don't have to keep sneaking it. And I will like highlight stuff in the ebook and then hopefully my husband gets the book back and I can make my notes in the book. And if my husband's mad that I wrote in and highlighted in his books, then I will just buy him new ones. I am waiting. It's like a 12-week wait for the audiobook for Golden Sun for part 1. I couldn't find it, and then I found out there's part 1 and part 2. Or one of them is like a 22-week wait or something. Like, it's ridiculous. Somebody is really into Golden Sun right now. A bunch of people are really into it right now. Anyways, I will start reading that probably after this weekend. Today is Friday morning. Yeah, I'm just gonna do a little bit of a Red Rising break for the next few days and concentrate on some other reads and then come back and read Golden Sun. So I have been reading Golden Sun for a little while now. Just been reading it on my Kobo. I was hoping to do it as an audiobook, but I found the audiobook for it. I have it on hold. I originally found it as part 1 and part 2, so I was like, okay, I put those on hold. And then part 2 came in before part 1, so I'm not near there yet. I'm 21% of the way through the ebook so far. And realized when the second part came in that it's a dramatized version of it, but I have to wait so long for part 1 to come in and everything like that. So we'll see. I just put on hold the regular audiobook for it. Anyways, I went to the hospital the other day because my ribs are in so much pain from coughing so much. That was like almost a week ago, 6 days ago. So I got a lot of reading done then into Golden Sun, but still only 21%. I'm such a slow reader. And I am not disliking the book. It is a little bit better. Having read the first one, I'm kind of like into the story. I know the characters a little bit more. It is different from the first one. Like, we're in a totally different situation. Like, in the first book, they're thrown into this Hunger Games situation. I keep comparing it to Hunger Games, and I'm sorry, this is not Hunger Games, but I liked that, like, in Hunger Games, it's last man standing, every man for themselves, you know, kill or be killed kind of thing. And in this, it's each house. There's the 12 houses that are fighting, and there's like 50 people per house or whatever it was. And it wasn't to the death. You didn't have to kill anybody. Everyone could have survived kind of thing after the initial test thing that happens. Like the Hunger Games, it was to the death, and that was the point. But this one was just like seeing strategy and war tactics and things like that, but without the death part. And you could take prisoners and have slaves and stuff, but you didn't necessarily have to kill anybody. So I liked that part of it. And now that's done. They're out of the institute. It's been a few years. He's out of school and he was pledged to be a part of this house or whatever. Now this is like after all of that, what's happening, and the Reds are trying to like rise up because they're like the lowest of the low, and they're trying to rise up and start this rebellion. And
knock out the power of the gold kind of thing, right? That's kind of where we're at more now. So the first book was more about him becoming a gold and infiltrating their society. And now I guess it's supposed to be more about taking it down. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully I can get the audiobook soon. That would be awesome. This book is due back in 2 days to the library and someone's waiting for it. So I won't be able to get it back out right away. And I have been interested in this and wanting to get back to it. I'm still salty about the fact that Sebastien believes I read the first book, at least, if not reading Golden Sun. And like every day I was reading it, I was putting the book back on the shelf and then reading it and putting it back on the shelf. And then I had it off the shelf for like a week. He never noticed. And then he did notice and didn't accept my explanation of it having been moved, or maybe he lent it out. He's all like, yeah, kind of like, I know you read it. And I'm still salty about that because this is supposed to be secret. This is my secret birthday project. So kind of annoying, but that's okay. Yeah, I have 30 minutes before my Momco thing starts, so we'll see if Jesper lets me read or not. He's kind of in between being happy and upset back there, and I will update when I have more to say. So, talk here all the time. I am back home. I am at the point where my ribs hurt so much that I'm tired. I'm just tired of being in pain, so that's fun. We did decorating cookies at the Momco today, and my son got icing all over me, so that's great. My dog is sitting there just destroying her toy, and I am just posted on Instagram my photo for the blanket. I'm absolutely in love with this blanket. I'm so excited. Yeah, I'm just gonna jump into reading now that I'm at home, and I have so much cleaning I have to do, always with the cleaning. It's weird because sweeping and mopping and stuff will really hurt my lower back, and it's hard to do it for like a long time without taking a break. So I need to do exercises to strengthen my core and my lower back and stuff, but I'm in extra pain now with my ribs, so I don't want to aggravate that even more by sweeping and mopping, but it really desperately needs to get done. So we will see. I'll just have a little bit of a rest right now. So right now I'm going to finish reading chapter 12, Blood for Blood, in The Golden Sun. Yeah, cheers. What are we doing, Jesper? Are we reading a book? What are we reading?
It's a book.
It's a book. So I've been neglecting Golden Sun, reading a bunch of Black author books for Vlogathon for February. Today is February 22nd. And I've been just hoping the audiobook for this will come in, but it's like a 22-week wait. It's so annoying. It's so frustrating. Like 22 weeks from now is like months after my husband's birthday. Whatever.
It's a bear.
I've been feeling like complete and utter garbage. Last Friday, today is Thursday. My days are all mixed up. I thought today was Friday. I want today to be Friday. Last Friday, I went to the hospital, hurt my back. Went to the hospital in back pain, and then hurt my back worse at the hospital. And they did nothing for me. So my amazing husband took care of me for 4 days while I sat in bed, just like screaming in pain every time I moved. And I was also so frustrated because I was so tired. Like I'd read like one page and fall asleep. I'd try to watch like one YouTube video, fall asleep. Like it was just so bad. And I wasn't even on like a bunch of pain medication either. I was just exhausted. So now I finished Beloved yesterday and then got back into this. The problem with the break that I've been taking is there is a lot of action in this book, and it's like this big thing happens and this and this and this. And my husband was talking about that, like how this one's very action packed and there's like never a dull moment. So it's like this big, not a massacre happens, but like a big showdown duel kind of thing. Like I'm shaking things up, and I read that and then I paused it for like 2 weeks. So I'm getting very frustrated reading the Red Rising series, and apparently it's still super popular, so I can't get a hold of it as audiobooks or anything. Thankfully, I got the ebook because I actually got the ebook and then it returned and other people were waiting for it and then it came back up. So that's good. I wish I could have picked a time to read this when all 3 audiobooks were just there and available, because I could have got through them by now. But I feel like garbage. I want to throw up. I've already thrown up today. Anyways, just checking in that this is taking a long time and I'm frustrated, and I wish I could just get the flipping audiobooks. Like, why does it have to be such a long wait? Why are people so interested in this? This came out like a decade ago. That's my update. Okay, Sebastian, you weren't kidding when you said things move so fast in this book. It's like one thing happens and there's like a moment of quiet and then another thing and another thing and another thing. And it's hard for me to keep track of who everybody is. I can never remember who all these people are, especially over the 2 books. And so many people have died and switched sides and stuff like that. And then it's like, Darrow is part of this team. No, now he's on this team. No, he's on this team. No, he's actually on this team. Yeah, it's a lot to keep track of and remember, and it's moving very quickly. I've been in bed since 2:30 today. Before that, I was lying on the couch since 1:15. I remember because Gavin was doing sprints, and I went and lie down on the couch for a little bit, but I was cold and uncomfortable and decided to go lie down for a little bit. And now it is 6:15 and I'm still in bed. My stomach won't stop twisting and turning and being gross and sick, so that's fun. But I just started reading again, so at least I could do a little bit of reading. It sucks when I'm sick and just have to lie here and not move. I'm frustrated about my body and sickness this year. Just hoping to get a little bit more reading done. That's basically every update ever. I'm not reading enough. I want to read more. Yeah, this is very intense. I don't want to talk about spoilers, right? So there's not much I can say, just that it's like, who's Darrow with, who's aligned to who's the good guys, who's the bad guys kind of things. Yeah, it's intense. But Sebastian be home soon, like 45 minutes-ish. The kids got home at 4:30, and I feel like since 4:30 time has just dragged so slowly. I will update when I have more to say. Like I said, there's not much I can say without giving away spoilers. So we're heading to Edmonton. Whee! That is a 5-hour drive south for us. You want to tell them what we're going to be listening to?
Red Rising, the dramatized version. It's going to be dramatic.
It's going to be very dramatic. I was hoping that my first experience with Red Rising would be the board game. Because, I don't know, like with Stephen King's Misery, the first time I experienced...
Dude, someone's trying to cut us off.
The first time I experienced Misery was as a play.
Oh yeah, that was
I
good.
haven't read the book, I haven't watched the movie, I still want to, but my first experience with it was a play. So I thought that was kind of fun, like it's not the normal or traditional way that most people are familiar with that specific piece of literature.
Red Rising is my series of the decade, I think.
Of the decade.
Yeah. I don't read a lot of books, so...
So this was your favorite book of last year?
Yeah.
Right?
My favorite series. Red Rising is the
yeah.
least best book in the trilogy.
Oh, the first book?
Yeah.
So we bought the board
Golden
game.
Sun is the best one, and then Morning Star is right next to it, and then Red Rising. But you need Red Rising to set everything up, so.
Yeah, makes sense. I bought you the board game because we found it at Chapters. It was on sale or something anyways. So I was like, that's going to be my first experience ever with this book, this series. And no, we're going on this trip. And me and you haven't played the game yet. You've played it by yourself against the computer, which it's a board game.
There's
it's
a
not
single
a computer
player
game.
mode on
Yeah.
it that plays kind of interesting. It's, I don't know, it's fun.
So my first experience with the book is going to be the dramatized version of it. So what kind of coffee do you want?
Large caramel with cream.
So what are you expecting out of this dramatized version of Red Rising?
I don't even know. I mean, it'll probably be cool. The dramatized version of The Hobbit was good. Because it was fun voice acting, I think.
Yeah.
And then you got like the little sound effects. I'm just trying to think of like specific scenes in the book that are going to be like really cool.
Yeah.
I hope you start loving the same characters I start loving. Because you'll love them all the way through.
So I managed to get an audiobook for Golden Sun through Audible, and it was like free and part of my subscription or something, so I don't know what that means. I'm taking advantage of it and listening to it. And Morning Star is available from the library right now, so I just downloaded that one. I have 4 hours left of Golden Sun. I have no idea what's happening. My brain is completely mush right now. It's so political. I can never remember like what team we're on, who we're rooting for, who we're against, who we're fighting, who's on the team, who's died. There's been a couple of deaths that are like, you know, they're hard hitting and they are important and there's emotion there, but I'm like, who are these people again? Why are they important? What did they do in the Institute? But that's on me. That's not the book. That's, as I'm going to say through like every vlog ever, it's me. It's my brain. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. But I'm glad I got an audiobook of it. We listened to almost all of the first part of the dramatization of Red Rising, and that was really good. It was really interesting. I did pick up on a few more things re-listening to it. I was not expecting the Irish accents, and I thought, husband, I thought you would be surprised by it, but you're like, yeah, yeah, that's totally the way it's written. There's totally an accent there. I knew that. And I'm like, really? I did not pick up on the fact that it would be Irish accents. But I really like and enjoy the accents, and they're not too strong that I can't understand what they're saying. So that's good. And I can listen to it at a faster speed. I mentioned that I didn't understand that the Reds were underground, not above ground. And then re-listening to it, I'm like, the book totally explains the fact that they are underground and not living on the surface of Mars. They are living deep under Mars, where they are mining. They also live down there. And I didn't pick that up until the reread. My husband's enjoying listening to it with me, and the dramatization is definitely more intense because there is a scene where he has to kill somebody with his bare hands, and you can hear like blood gushing and bones crunching, and it's just like, oh, it's so dramatized. It's good that way. But yeah, intense. I'm just listening to the second book, normal, read out loud audiobook, not dramatized. And I'm just so lost and confused. But once this comes out, I'll be able to talk more with you, Sebastien, about what has happened and who these people are and why they're important. And I did enjoy playing the game. The game was kind of weird because you're not a character. You get character cards, but you're just like trading them and picking up new characters and stuff. You yourself are never actually a character or a color or anything. You don't start like as a red and try to make your way up to gold. Nothing like that. Like you're just trying to collect points. It's kind of weird. It's not a bad game. It's just different than all the other games I've played in the past, but it is more a card game. That was fun. Yeah, this whole Red Rising experience is not too bad. But I got 4 hours left of this one, and then the next audiobook is 22 hours long. My husband's birthday is in 11 days. So I can listen to 2 hours a day. I don't know really what to talk about because I can't talk about spoilers, but maybe I'll try and do some B-roll this weekend with the kids and stuff and try and make this as entertaining for you as possible. That's all I got to say for now. And I remember why I came on here to record. There is an obsidian, I think it is, named Ragnar, which just makes me think of Ragnarok, and he reminds me of Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy, and he's one of my favorite MCU characters. When I read books like this, I have to relate it back to something I know. Like in the first book, it was The Hunger Games. This book, the Ragnar guy thing, is making me think of Marvel and Drax, and I love Drax. So that's why I was recording to mention Ragnar, because I'm listening to a scene and he's in it right now. Hearing all the different ways like that the Golds and stuff have bred people, it's like breeds of dogs. We have taken dogs and bred them for certain jobs. Like German Shepherds, they were originally shepherds for herding sheep and stuff, but they're also guard dogs. That's what they've been bred for. We had a Basset Hound, and I was doing research on Basset Hounds, and everything about them is designed for hunting. Even if it's just a lap dog, that's what it's bred for. Just a companion dog, that's its purpose in life. And when they talk about the different colors and stuff, it's like pinks were bred for pleasure. That's it. That's all they know. That's just their whole thing. They're bred to look nice, feel nice, and bring pleasure to people. Obsidians are made for like war. The blues, they're very like robotic, and they literally plug into the ship and can control the ship, and they all talk like in their minds through some kind of data connection thing, like I don't know, like computers talking to each other. It's just so weird the way they talk about like how they're bred for that. Like we made them like this. And one of the guys in here actually has a griffin, I believe, as a pet, and they're made from the carvers, which make different creatures and stuff, and that's how Darrow became a Gold, was through a carver. That's kind of interesting, the idea of having like a griffin and stuff as a pet. That's cool. Yeah, it's just interesting the way they talk about the different colors and how they're like literally just bred to do their job. Really takes the humanity out of it for the Golds. That's it. That's what I wanted to talk about. Okay, bye now. So I have 2 hours left of Golden Sun, and there was just a moment between Fitchner and Darrow in the Sovereign's ship, and yeah, that's a pretty big twist. If you know, you know. And besides that, I'm completely lost, because it's just like constant fighting all the time, and I never know where they are, and also how many times can you kill off your main character. That's just crazy. That's it. That's my update. These vlogs of me just talking about what is happening in the books is kind of boring, especially when I can't talk about spoilers or anything. I should just make this a spoiler vlog. Mostly it's just gonna be my husband watching this anyways, but in case you haven't read the books, I don't want to spoil it. I just leaving Walmart now. I had to get an outfit for my son. He's in the choir. He's gonna be singing on Wednesday. Anyways, I am just a little more than 2 hours, 2.5 hours into not Golden Sun, the other one, Morning Star or whatever it's called, and I'm really liking this one. This is really good. The part I was confused about in the other book is things happen so quickly, And then I wasn't totally sure. What is my dog doing back there? Darrow would be like on a ship planning some kind of attack, and then next thing I know, he's on a different ship and he's being like captured by the bad guys, or they're capturing the bad guys or something. I don't know. It was like so confusing. And then the end of Golden Sun was so brutal and big plot twist and stuff. That was brutal. And now this one, I feel like I'm understanding it a little bit more. And I got telling my husband, I was like, I'm reading this book and I don't have the physical copy to go back and read like the last 10 pages. I think I went back and listened to the last 6 minutes of it. Maybe one day he'll get his book back. My husband still has the physical copy of this last one, The Morning Star, and I ordered the 4th book for his birthday. So hopefully that comes in before his birthday. We'll see. I'm enjoying it so far. I gotta drive home, so I'm gonna keep listening and listen throughout the day. It's a 21 hour and 50-minute audiobook, so hopefully I want to get through it quick enough to be able to get this up for his birthday. I'm gonna head home and I will update later. So one thing I am liking in book 3 here is the banter and stuff. It's funny. Darrow is having a conversation with another red diver person. Reds are relatively tiny compared to golds. So when they made Darrow a gold, they had to make him quite large, right? And the red is asking him, like, did you get to keep it? And Darrow's like, it. And the guy just kind of like looks at his groin area and is like, did you get to keep it? Or did they have to make it proportionate? I like something I didn't think about, I guess. I just assume that everything's proportionate, but I'm not thinking about private parts, but that was just funny. And there's another part where Darrow is in the hospital and Servo comes to see him and Ragnar, and just like their whole banter and talking about the things that happened. And at one point Ragnar gets mad at like Servo and just like tosses him to the side, because remember, Ragnar is the character that is like Drax, kind of like, that's who it makes me think of. And also the rock guy from the third Thor movie, is it Ragnarok? When Thor is having to fight the Hulk in that ring or whatever, and he's like, that's my friend. And there's that rock guy, and he's just a giant guy that just looks like rocks. Ragnar kind of makes me think of that look. I don't know why I'm thinking a giant rock guy, but with the personality of Drax. But he just like picks up Servo and tosses him to the side, and then Servo's upset because he lost his chocolate bar. And it was cute. I wanted to record it, but I was driving. This is after I left Walmart. I was driving and we're getting everything through the perspective of Darrow, right? So Darrow's in the hospital room and then he just hears his nickname is Reaper. So he just hears this, Reaper, come and play. And it's kind of creepy actually. But the way the guy like kind of sings it, my baby in the background is like, come and play. He just kept repeating, play, play. And that was cute. That whole scene of Servo and Ragnar coming to visit Darrow in the hospital also made me laugh. And now this scene to find out if when you make a red a gold, is everything proportionate. That made me laugh. My kids are going to be home in about an hour, under an hour now. So I'm going to keep listening until they get home and work on some crafting stuff. I got 2 birthday gifts I'm working on right now. Let's jump into more reading. One other thing I wanted to mention that I was thinking about, I like how emotional the men can be in this, especially the Reds coming from where Darrow comes from. They make me think of like these hard construction type guys that are miners and like drillers, right? Like it makes me think of the crew from Armageddon. They're oil drill digger people. They're tough, they're strong, very manly man kind of thing. But they cry, like Darrow cries. And there's one scene where he's talking with his mother, and she's not a hard woman, but she has seen a lot of things in her life, like her husband die, and has just lived a really hard life. And she is a little bit more stoic, a little bit less
outwardly emotional, and he's talking to his mom and his uncle at one point, and he's like, leave it to my mom to be kind of stone-faced and just say it as it is. Well, me and the other guy in the room, his uncle, are like barely holding back their tears. And there's a few scenes where Darrow like collapses against another guy and just like bawls his eyes out. And he's not afraid to show that emotion. And I know there are some very, very sensitive guys that do cry a lot easier. And usually it takes a lot to get a guy to cry. And I don't find that Darrow's crying at the drop of a hat. It's not annoying like he's super overly emotional. His emotions make sense. They come at the right time kind of thing. And it's okay for guys out there to be extra emotional. That's fine. I'm not saying anything against that. I'm just saying like in this book, in this context, he doesn't come off as whiny or annoying or anything like that. Like he is a well-rounded male character. He has emotions, he cares, he has compassion, he doesn't want to be a part of this war kind of thing. Yeah, I like the men in here, and Darrow's not the only one. Like I said, we are always getting the perspective of Darrow, so we see it just more with him. How he is not afraid to show his emotions, and he like cries, like he is weeping, breaking down into sobs. Yeah, just a well-rounded, emotionally aware male character, and I like that.
So it's 9:34. It's Tuesday. Today is March 12th. I am 5 hours and 12 minutes into Morning Star, not Golden Sun. And I was hoping to listen for another 15-ish minutes, but baby's upset. I have Momco today. It starts at 10. But I was like, I'm just gonna listen to the book for a few minutes and work on my crochet project. But no, when I put on the book, the baby just starts screaming because he wants to go inside now. Hopefully I'll be able to go home and listen to this. I'm actually like excited. Like I want to listen to this book. I want to get back to it. I want time to listen to this book. So that's a good sign. I don't know if it's just because I'm liking this book more than the other books, or if I'm just excited to be nearing the end of this project. Not that this has been bad. It's just been a long project. And problem is, this is my 3 out of 4 vlogs that I've been trying to film since January. I've just overwhelmed myself with the amount of content, long form content I'm trying to do. I need to find some short videos to film. Anyways, I don't know what to do to make this vlog interesting or entertaining or anything since I can't talk about spoilers. So I might not update a whole bunch more, but I will talk to you sometime after Momco. I put out a vlog yesterday for Blackathon. I'm pretty sure I talk in it about this secret Red Rising vlog. And if my husband watches it, then I really messed up this surprise, and that really sucks, and I'm so frustrated. He's already suspicious, and hopefully he doesn't watch that vlog. He doesn't always watch all of my content or watch it right away, and it is like an hour-long vlog, so maybe he won't watch it. But he probably will, and that sucks. Happy birthday.
Splash after them, trying to herd them back to the designated avenues. But entitlement and chaos are a poor mix.
So one thing I wanted to mention about reading this book and books like this is how hard it is for me to keep up with action scenes. I swear, like one moment they're sitting there talking and strategizing, and then the next moment they're in the middle of a fight and people are getting killed, and you're like, hey, wait, what happened? How did they get to the middle of this fight? That's why I stay away from a lot of fantasy books. The action is good, the fighting scenes are good, I'm just lost and confused because that's me with fantasy books. But since this is for a book club, I'm gonna keep it up. I'm almost halfway through it.
Very much his character. Like, I was like, that's...
Several?
That was hilarious, yeah.
Yeah.
It happens later. It's so funny.
Is it later in this book? Or?
Well, that's why I don't want to tell you anything. Because in these books, you don't know who dies and who doesn't.
That's
die.
true. It's kind of like the Hunger Games, right? Where it's
and that goes throughout the entire thing. He does a good job at making it sound like any single person in the book could die. Anyone could die. They're all...
Well, spoiler alert, Darrow's already died once.
Yeah, there's no obvious plot armor on any character.
There's a couple things I want to mention. My husband and I are still listening to the Red Rising dramatization. So we had time today to listen to a little bit of it, and we got introduced to Severo, and he's like, I really like this character, just so you know, and there's a scene with him that I just thought was hilarious, and it made me laugh a lot. And there was the scene in this book that I talked about made me really laugh a lot, because he was meeting Darrow in the hospital, and it was between Darrow, Ragnar, and Servo, and there was just like a funny exchange between them. And I was like, oh, what scene? Like, what book does it happen in? And Sebastian's like, I can't tell you because that would spoil, like, if you want to continue in on the series. Sebastian kind of figured that I read the first book. I'm hoping that he doesn't know I'm reading the other two, and that this part of the vlog at least is a surprise. So just wanted to mention that. I am liking re-listening to the dramatization because it just helps me pick up on things. And then like Fitchner shows up, and Sebastian's like, I love Fitchner, just so you know, he's a really good character. But and all this stuff in it. So that's a spoiler too. I know a little bit more about Fitchner, so it's fun like going back and seeing his personality and the way he's interacting with everybody, right? It's always nice to go back and read books after you have all the twists and turns and stuff. Even though you don't have those surprises come up, it's kind of cool because you pick up on other things when doing a reread. So I am still enjoying doing the dramatization, but I don't know if I'm going to keep up with it or not. I might just let my husband finish that off. It just takes us such a long time to listen to a book together, because we rarely have the time together to do it. And then when we do, we pause it, we listen to like 1 minute, and then we pause it and discuss for 20 minutes, and then we're done our driving around in town, because everywhere in town is fairly close together. I also wanted to mention where Ragnar is from is like an ice planet, and it really makes me think of where Matthias is from. Matthias? Something like that, is from in Six of Crows and the Crooked Kingdom. So it just, their world just really, really, really reminds me of where he is from. My husband hasn't watched that yet or read that yet, but we watched Shadow and Bone and really liked. I read Shadow and Bone before watching Shadow and Bone and didn't realize they would put in characters from Six of Crows in it, but we both really liked the Jesper character in Shadow and Bone, the TV series, and ended up naming our son Jesper because we thought that was a really cool name, not just because of the character, but just the name we really liked. And then when my son was 11 months old, I finally read Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, and I was like, I have a lot hanging on this book to like it. I better like it. So I did enjoy it. I don't know if it was like a 5 out of 5 for me story, but I really enjoyed it, and I'm making my husband read it this year. So Sebastian, just so you know, I'm making you read Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom this year. So I was hoping the weather would be a little bit nicer, but it's actually super windy, so I'll make this really short. We are puppy sitting, so I decided to take the doggies for a walk because it's been nicer out, but I chose the wrong time to go. But I'm 50% of the way through the Morning Star, I think it's called. So my husband's just out right now taking our son to the doctor. And it's hard to listen to the book when he's around because he's not allowed to know I'm listening to it. So I figured now would be a good time to go out for a walk. Our poor dog Peaches just desperately needs one, and I'm sure Hunter would appreciate it too. I still have like just under 10 hours left to listen to, so I don't know when I'll get it finished. But today is Friday and his birthday is Tuesday. He goes back to work Monday, so I'm gonna have to like do all my editing Monday, so that should be fun. Wish me luck, and I'm gonna go listen to my book now. Happy Sunday, everybody. I have 4 hours left of this book, and I have to spend all day tomorrow editing when my husband's back at work. So, yeah, they're out on a walk right now, but I stayed home because the baby fell asleep. So this gives me ample time to work on our friend's birthday gift while listening to this book for my husband's birthday gift. And I just wanted to mention, like, there was just another death that happened in this, and there's been a few pretty big emotional deaths so far in Morning Star and throughout the whole series, of course, but just I've been thinking about it in this book that the author, he is not afraid to kill off a character, a beloved character, all the characters, and it's sad, but it's also like when you're watching a show, a movie, whatever, and people die, but there's always a way for them to come back all the time, all of the characters, it loses its impact, right? I don't mind once in a while when somebody comes back, like in this, the one guy, I was like, he's died like 6 times. How often can you kill off this guy? It definitely loses its impact when there's always like some way that the character comes back. Pierce Brown, he's not afraid to kill off characters, and that's it. They're dead. They're not coming back. So it definitely adds that emotional element to the story. That's all I wanted to say, and I'm going to jump back in because I need to get this done. And I'm actually thinking this might be my favorite book of the series, where my husband's was the middle one. I don't know if I'm just connecting with this one more. I'm in a better headspace. I'm feeling better. I'm not sick and injured and stuff. I don't know what it is, but yeah, let's get back in. So in my last clip, I mentioned that Pierce Brown is not afraid to kill off characters, and the deaths in his books mean something, and the people stay dead. But I have like 2 hours left of Golden Sun, and can we stop killing off people now? Now I'm just sad, and it's depressing. And yeah, just please stop. Thanks. So my husband's home upstairs. I want to talk quietly so he doesn't hear anything by accident. I just finished the book. It's like 10 p.m. So it's 2 hours until his birthday. If we are awake at midnight, I will give him the Iron Gold, 4th book in the saga of Red Rising. But I just finished the trilogy, and it was a wild ride. I had 2 hours left earlier today, and those last 2 hours were just like one twist after another, and action and all this craziness. And then the last like 20 minutes or so was like the calm wind down, and then it ended really sweet, really interestingly. Another little surprise twist at the end there. It was a good ending. My husband's favorite book was the middle one. I would say my favorite one was this last one. So it kind of went in order, like Red Rising, Golden Sun, Morning Star. And I don't know if it's just because I understood the characters more and stuff coming into the third one. I'm still lost and confused by all the politics and stuff, but that's okay. I still enjoyed it. I mentioned at the beginning of the video that I would not continue on with the series if I was just reading this on my own. I am glad that I did push through and continue reading, and I was able to do the trilogy for this. Am I going to continue on with the 4, 5, and 6? I don't know about that right now. Probably not this year or whatever. I'll talk to my husband about it and see what he says, but it's not on the plans. I'm glad I read the first trilogy. That was good. Comment down below if you've read this. Happy birthday, Sebastien. I'm so excited that I was able to do this for you, even if you did kind of guess that I was doing it. It's fine. Happy birthday. I was gonna say, why do I think my husband likes this trilogy so much without sitting down and talking to him in depth because of spoilers? I did say I did want to read Red Rising originally, so we didn't talk about it in depth because spoilers. So I think my husband likes this series because it is both character and plot driven. Sometimes with a movie, a book, a show, you don't need a heavy plot or a lot of depth or anything. You're just there for the ride, the popcorn movie. It's fun. It's silly, or it's action-packed. I like a good action movie. It doesn't have to have a strong plot. It's just fun. And sometimes you want the more intellectual, in-depth thing. And sometimes you read a story or watch a movie or whatever, and it is more about the characters themselves. The plot is just kind of there in the background, but it's more about the characters. And sometimes it's just about the action, right? And I think this book, this trilogy, was both. The characters were really well developed. You cared about people. There was a big cast of characters, which was kind of confusing, but there was a small like inner circle, very important characters, and then it kind of just like grew from there. But there is quite a big cast of people that do come up throughout all 3 of the books, but you care about the core people that are in the book, and there is growth and development, and you see them grow from book 1 when they're teenagers, 16, 17 years old, and then it spans like 7 years, these 3 books. It's kind of crazy, especially when you read them so close together. You're like, wow, it's been 7 whole years. So good characters, growth, depth, and then there is a love story, but it's really on the back burner kind of thing. It's not right in your face romance, but there's just that little bit of romance there. And then the plot. the lowest of the low rising up against the highest of the high and trying to shift the power balance. And the action scenes, the war, a little bit of the politics of it too. My husband also isn't very politically minded, like he's not super into politics or anything, but he has more of a mind for it than I do. He remembers details better than I do with stuff like that. But there's battles where people are like on ships and they're like, okay, target here, target there. But there's also like hand-to-hand combat and stuff as well. I think the action scenes in this are done really, really well. And like I said, there are deaths that happen in this that matter, that count, that are painful, and you're like, wow, that was shocking and devastating. And it's not all just smoke and mirrors and surprise, he's not actually dead. So there is consequences to the actions that these characters are making. So I think that's why my husband likes this. It's a well-rounded, balanced story and fun sci-fi action as well. I really liked this. Last book, the 22-hour book, read fairly quickly for me, and I'm glad I finished it in time, but I still have so much editing to do and I can't edit when he's awake. Tomorrow's his birthday. I'm going to be up like early editing when he's at work, and then I'll get this out as soon as I can. Happy birthday, Sebastien. Hope you're having a good day. Hope you enjoyed this vlog. To everybody else, please like, comment, and subscribe if you have watched this, if you want to see more content from me. I'm gonna go figure out what I'm gonna film next, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!